The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, good morning and welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm CJ.
And I'm Chip.
And I'm wearing red today because I'm a little bit infuriated, just in case you were wondering. The messages that have been going out since our last show have been unbelievable, and what some people are enduring for exercising their rights. There's been all kinds of stories and propaganda, and we just want to let you know, keep your faith and keep holding strong. Chip, I mean, what's going on? I mean, truly, what is going on?
Well, it's pretty apparent what's going on. They're attempting to divert attention away from the fact that the recall of the mayor is based on some really egregious violations of the public trust, and a lot of going back on promises he's made to the community. And the easiest way to have people lose focus is to start throwing accusations around, distorting facts, and begin to get a dialogue that's off the fact of why Mayor Flanagan is being recalled. The fact is, we've read it on the show, it's on the petition, we read it in front of the council. Basically, anybody's, I don't know, we may even post it on the webpage. The fact is that there are specific reasons. There was a letter to the editor yesterday in the Fall River Herald News where some individual listed 10 or 11 reasons why he felt the mayor should be recalled. This is a ploy to divert attention away from a closer look at what Will Flanagan has done as mayor.
Well, there's been a lot of things about, people's houses are going to be visited. And I know that I've spoken to several business people, and so have members of the coalition, that have approached them, and they said, we've been approached and told that we can't let you collect signatures here, if we expect to continue to do business, if we expect to have permits and licenses renewed, et cetera, et cetera. And it seems to me that that's really an abuse of power. I mean, those messages aren't coming, and I asked, are they coming directly from the mayor? And they said, no, it's somebody who comes and says they're working on the mayor's behalf and they're doing things on the mayor's campaign and stuff like that. But, I mean, we've seen this before. We have seen this before in elections.
Well, yeah, but never to this, I don't think ever to this level. The fact is, it is illegal. It's coercion. And the fact is that I've had people tell me when I was securing some signatures that I will vote for the recall of the mayor, but I run a business, or I have a relative who works in a city department. And they are looking at every single signature. They are looking at every single person who posts on Facebook. And this is just out and out coercion. My message to them is, stand up, sign a petition, somebody comes to your business, take their name down, and call the feds. Call the feds. When the feds come down and get that person in a room and threaten them with some jail time, they'll roll over like puppies.
Yeah, well, an accusation was made on WSAR that the members of the committee to recall Mayor Will Flanagan coerced and threatened Councillor Jaziel Correa II. I understand you were present at that meeting, which, by the way, I believe Councillor Correa called for. Can you kind of tell us what happened there?
Well, one of the individuals who's part of the recall, and as I said, I've said this before, this is a diverse group. They're not all from one group. Some of, and everybody expresses their opinions in a different manner. Some of them may be objectionable to some people. But again, we get back to what I said before. Let's look at the reasons for the recall. You may not like the way somebody puts it, but one individual basically singled out Councillor Correa for his comment that we were misfits, or the people who were involved in this were misfits. And in my book, for an elected official to call people with a differing political opinion a misfit is just as bad as somebody calling them out. And he called them out personally. I made a presentation about the obligation of government to represent the people. And I made reference, not specifically to him, but to people making characterizations that people who have a different political opinion are some kind of misfits or negative or whatever, where, you know, that's not true. This country is a democracy. It's a republic. They're our representatives. We have the right to give our opinion. This country was founded on that. This country was founded by people who left England because they were minority religious groups and were not allowed a voice in their own government.
But
and I'm getting right now.
Okay.
So I'm laying a groundwork because we have a very interesting guest coming up, and I'm going to make it short. So what happened was we made our presentation, citizens' input ended, and we all left the council chamber because we had just secured the petitions, and we were going to go down and leave the building and go to an area to begin to number and collate the petitions. And when I got to the base of the stairs in the atrium, Councillor Pereira was already in the atrium talking to Jordan, and they had a conversation, and then the conversation ended, and he walked over and said, "Where's the petition? I want to sign it." And he walked over to the windowsill, and he signed the petition. And I actually said, well, you know, I congratulate you, because I think even people who are pro-Flanagan should sign it, because let's prove what the people really want in the city. So there was no coercion. He actually left his council seat and sought out the people with the petitions. So any kind of rumor that he was coerced is absolute garbage.
Well, you know, he also made a statement, if I remember correctly, after he signed that petition. Do you remember that statement?
So he made a few.
Yeah. He said, "I'm not signing it because I want to look good or be glorious. I'm doing it because I believe in the process."
Yeah. Well, he said that among other things, and he also said that he wants to, you know, he wants to pursue a career in politics.
Yes.
And he understands that, you know, it was a revelation to him, I guess. He realized, and he admitted he made a mistake by singling out people, and even by speaking for the mayor on election night. He admitted to people, and there were numerous people there, that it was a mistake for him to do what he's done, and he's learning, basically.
Well, you know, the thing is that yesterday seemed to be propaganda central out of Camp Flanagan, and it was actually being broadcast many times over and over again by several members of WSAR, and I had to call WSAR several times to correct some of their facts, like 5,000 signatures. The exact number of signatures necessary, as certified by the city clerk and the Board of Elections, was 2,459 votes. 2459. And if you went to the exact account, it was 2459.13. So maybe WSAR rounded up.
I don't know how you get .13 votes.
I don't know either, but you know, that's the way it seems to be working. And I think we're going to be calling our guests on now into the hot seat. So why don't we call on our guests and roll the hot seat? Lots of a brouhaha in the city council and what's been going on with this recall, and it seems that there's a lot of people who want to say something and do something, and it's just not working.
Well, I tend to listen to my constituents because I believe that they put you there to be their voice. I think that so much is going on in the city, and people are losing sight of the fact that there is a city to run, and a lot of the drama that's going on. I spoke to a friend of mine today, and he said, it's like a reality show, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. Everybody has a right to do whatever they want. Concerning to me is that whether somebody wants to sign, doesn't want to sign, that's their right. And it's upsetting to hear that we live in a country that we proclaim freedom, but people are afraid to sign for whatever retribution they fear. I don't think that that's appropriate. And I don't think that anybody should be bullied or feared on one side or the other. It's a freedom, and it's every single person's individual choice. Although I hear everything that's going on, and one of the things that really gripes me is that when you go on social media, and I'm not much of a social media buff, I do have a Facebook page, but I don't tend to put my opinions out there or let people know when I'm going out to dinner and not going to be home, or where I'm eating, or where I am. I just don't do that. However, I like the days that you wrote a letter to the editor and you signed your name to it. The fake Facebook pages that are created, and I do enough with Facebook to know when somebody became a member, and there are websites that you can go to take a photograph and see where that photograph really generated from. And I'm amazed, I'm more intrigued by why people would take the time to set up a fake Facebook page. If you believe in your heart, one way or another, you should be able to speak it and put your name to it. You know, where have we in this country lost our self-respect and hid behind the shields of anonymity? I mean, to me, weak people hide behind anonymity. And we shouldn't live in a community like that. People should be strong enough to be able to express themselves. My focus needs to be on what we're doing to move forward. And you know, I've been to meetings, and there are some good things happening. For example, the Battleship is celebrating 50 years of being here. That is huge. You know, to talk about everything that we have there, and to make sure that we have a celebration that is able to bring in some people to help to stir some economic development. You look at businesses here. Like, what else can we do to help business? I don't think that some of the regulations helped business, and I understand that there are hauler fees in other communities, but you need to speak to the business community about that. Let them know what may possibly be implemented, so that when they're doing their projections for the year, that that's included in as well. So I have some concerns about that. Basically, communication is key, and the process in which we do things is appropriate. Everybody is upset about a number of things, and I've heard many people say pay-as-you-throw was the straw that hit the camel's back. However, there was a process to that, because DEP has a wonderful set of guidelines on how you explain pay-as-you-throw to a community, how you put a group together 9 months away from a projected start date. And you do some analysis and get some data on what are the cost-saving measures, what are the benefits to the environment. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And then 6 months out, you do an educational program to show, you know, this is the benefit, that's not the benefit, and weigh it out. I mean, if there's a fee, is it going to be a fee to a bin? Is it going to be a fee to a bag? I'm a little confused, because initially the receptacle was the bin, the trash cans, the big green dumpster, that was the receptacle. Now the bags are the receptacle, so I don't understand all of that. And when you're talking legal terms, sometimes the terminology is key.
I'm glad we're on this, because you mentioned process, and I want to know how you feel as a duly elected legislator, a part of the legislative branch of government, about the process, because this is what bothers me. The process of cutting out the city council on this and going through the Board of Health, even though the Board of Health, they're saying, does have the right to set regulations and some fees. But the fact is, there's a lot of questions about, wasn't really a public health issue. I mean, if it was a public health issue, we should have had these regulations 20 years ago. And there's also a question of the legality, because how can a board that's appointed impose a fee on the taxpayers? The state can't even do that. If they mandate something, they have to pay for it. That's why they don't mandate anymore. But the fact is, how do you feel as an elected official when you have a mayor that says, look, I'm afraid that you people might not agree with my position on this, so I'm just going to cut you right out of the process.
I don't think that that's beneficial to the mayor. I don't think it's beneficial to the council. And most importantly, I don't think it's beneficial to the community. I think that there is a process in place. I personally don't feel that the mayor had the ability to set a fee on the bag. I think that the bag fee should have come through the council. I think that the council should have been brought in and the whole program explained on what was beneficial, what wasn't, and give him some ideas as well of maybe this will work or that won't work. I think that that is probably the more important thing is the process. And I did march in the old St. Patrick's Church. What do they call it now?
Good Shepherd.
Good Shepherd. Thank you. I marched in the procession at Good Shepherd on Sunday with State Representative Sylvia and with the mayor, and he and I talk as we're marching in a procession. I may not agree with some of what he does, but you go beyond that. I mean, you just do. And I said to him, I think it was the process. I wish you would have spoken to us. And he said, well, you know, you wouldn't have voted for it. You don't know that because you never took the time to sit and talk to me about it, on why we're doing it, what the benefits is, why now. I mean, those are some of the issues. And you can't be saying to the public, I'm never going to do this, and then boom, do it. That gives mixed messages. Get all your facts and then take a stand.
But Linda, I am going to ask you this question. What does that say when he told you you might not have voted for it? So do we have a man who's in office that's forgotten that he's answerable not only to the council but to the people? And so he's going to look at everything he does and say, well, if this can get through the council, I'm going to use the council. But if I'm not sure, I'm going to find a way to go around this thing. I mean, to me, as a voter and a taxpayer, I don't agree that he or any board has the right to impose. They may be able to pass regulations, but any fee they pass, I feel, has to be approved by a duly elected representative of the people. This is the way our government works. Private entities they're spending public money. They're spending and they're setting fees and they're setting things that will affect the taxpayer and businesses in this community. And I don't believe personally that they have a right to do that. I believe that the city council, as the legislative branch, has to approve anything that has to do with money. And I may be wrong, but I would be willing to fight that to the Supreme Court. But it troubles me as a taxpayer that this administration, number one, has never been transparent. And even as you as a counselor, I know on many occasions have not had prior warning about things that have been put before you. But isn't that troubling when a mayor says, I'm not going to give you the right to get to say what you feel about this and say what your constituents feel about this. I'm going to look at an issue and say, if you're not going to agree with me, I'm not even going to consult you.
It is troubling, but there are certain things that you can change and there are some things that you can't change. And you can certainly try to change things. I know that when I was in a leadership role of the council, I would have communication with the mayor via text, via phone calls, via going into his office. If I had a concern, even a concern that was expressed to me with another councilor, I'll give you an example. I had a councilor say to me, look, I went in to meet regarding the budget, and I got a call to say there was going to be meeting with the mayor about the budget, but when I got there, the mayor wasn't there. It was the treasurer, it was Mr. Kadim, and the mayor wasn't there. And I went to the mayor and said, councils are feeling like they want to have you there. And all the mayors that I've served with under all administrations, when we talk about budgets, the mayor is present. And, the mayor was like, well, Mr. Kadim knows and the treasurer knows, and he's right, they both do know. However, it gives the council an opportunity to have a one-on-one with the mayor, to maybe bring up something else that's a concern that's going on. It just gives you that dialogue. And obviously, whatever, if a councilor gets a constituent call regarding a specific issue and they meet with the mayor, I don't think that he can do every single thing that every call that a councilor receives on an issue, that he's going to be able to do every single thing, and that's fine. But then let's talk about it so that I can call the constituent and say, you know what, this can't be done because of ABC. It's people don't want you I mean, people understand that you can't do everything, but I think what people want is a response from you, to know that you've looked into it, to respond to an email, to respond to a telephone call. Constituents want that, and I try to do that as much as I can. Do I miss somebody? If I've tried calling and there's not an answer, do I forget and not call back? I'm just as human as everybody else. But I try my hardest to do that because people put you in that position to represent them. And I like to hear from constituents. And even if they're calling me to complain about something, I want to hear that. And then they'll call to compliment me on something. I want to hear that too. There's a balance. But what I don't like is when somebody calls me and the first thing they say is, Councilor Pereira, I don't want to bother you. I say, you are not bothering me. If I didn't want to be bothered, I wouldn't run for elective office. I want to be bothered. I want to hear the pros and cons of what you have to say. So if you're calling a counselor or somebody and saying, I don't want to bother you, don't vote for that person, because you should not have that as an issue. You should want to hear from people.
Well, you know, we appeared on one of our sister programs, the Richard Urban Show, and one of your former colleagues had made some comments, and if we can go to the tape, please, and I'll play that for you so you can see it.
On the city council. Now, during your tenure, during the time you were on the city council, can you recall any of these recall petitions?
No.
No, none.
No.
So,
I have a question also that I read it in the paper this morning about the reasons for it, and I thought that they needed 15% of the registered voters, and I thought I read that there was 49,000 registered voters. Now, I might be wrong.
You need 5% of the registered voters.
5%.
5%.
And that figure, by the way, Earl, was given to us by the Board of Elections. So they're the ones that we didn't determine what figure. We allowed the city to do it.
So
okay, so
I've never heard of it before, but I personally think that there's a couple of city councilors that we're going to try to also recall at the same time, because they've been nothing but a detriment to the progress in this city.
but they're not on a petition, are they?
No, there'll be 2 more separate petitions to recall 2 more city councilors, and they'll probably all go on a ballot at the same time.
Can you give us the names of the councilors?
I'm not prepared to give the names.
All right, but you have...
It's very easy to figure. If you look at the negative
venture a
city
guess.
councilors and those who oppose everything that the city's trying to do, you can probably figure out at least who the 2 are.
All right.
I'm willing to take a guess. I'm a gambling guy. I go to Vegas once in a while. I'd take a wild stab at it, but our position, and we made it
But
clear.
you're just... This is yours is just in regards to...
Yeah.
Well, let me...
Well, it was interesting to hear that. I mean, what do you think about something like that?
Everybody has a right to do whatever they choose to do. And if Mr. Gaudette, and you said one of my former colleagues, I never served with Mr. Gaudette. I did in fact serve with Councilor Jack Medeiros, who had served with him. Councilor Medeiros was the longing consecutive serving city councilor. He never lost an election in all the years that he served. And Leo has lost elections and come back, so he has more years of service in. I don't know where Mr. Gaudette falls in that. I think he would probably be beneath Leo on years of service. I don't know. I mean, if they want to recall the councilor, so be it. I have no issue with that. And, you know, what bothers me is to say there are councilors who are negative and councilors who are not. Watch the council meetings and listen to the questions that all the councilors ask, the questions that all the councilors raise. I mean, I just raised a question at this last council meeting, and again, it had to do with process. There's a group of people that would like us to take the land that the Catholic Church owned by Maplewood Park, to take that by eminent domain. That went to the Real Estate Committee for discussion. And then a resolution was filed to have Corporation Council look into what the Catholic Church was willing to do if we could negotiate, what was their fairest price or whatever. And they weren't taking it by eminent domain. They wanted to buy it, I'm sorry. And all of a sudden at the council meeting on Tuesday, we have like a bill of sale, a purchase and sales agreement, or some document. And Councilor Pelzer says, well, we met with Attorney Gay, who represents the Catholic Church, and Corporation Council, and I don't know who else was there, but was confusing to me, because usually what happens if a committee requests that they look into, Corporation Council looks into something, then it would go to that committee, there'd be discussion at that committee, or perhaps have Attorney Gay and Corporation Council come to the table at a real estate and say, you know, what is it that we can do? Maybe they wanted that to be private, then let the attorneys speak about it. But I think it should have gone back to real estate. And honestly, Councilor Pelletier doesn't have a problem scheduling meetings. And at the end of the meeting, Councilor Pelletier did in fact say, no, I want to refer it back to the real estate committee. He's been there long enough, and he knows that I was right. I mean, by him saying I want it to go back, I think he realized, yeah, she might be right. It should go back to real, and it should. So again, it's the process. But to say that people are negative, if you think I'm one of the ones that are negative, I will tell you that I focus on what is in the best interest of the people of Fall River. And because I have a little bit of a stronger backbone, some people may refer differently, but I tend to have people call me and say, I want you to know this and this is going on. I want you to know this. And I have never divulged a name of anyone who has called me, but people will call and give you information that you're like, what? I had no idea that was going on. So, you know, it's those types of things that if I was negative, I don't think I would get the number of calls that I get, or the number of concerns or issues raised by the constituents in the city. But certainly, like you have a right to start a recall petition, so does everyone else. So does everyone else.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But the problem I have with what was said by Mr. Gaudette was, as you know, I've been in front of that council for many years. I've been at odds with many mayors. We never started a recall because we had a difference of opinion. What we cited on that recall petition is some egregious violations by this mayor. Fiscal irresponsibility, jeopardizing the public with what he's done to the fire department. So we feel it's a unique thing. It shouldn't be the first resort, it's the last. In my opinion, as you said, he has a right. But if we were going to go with people who we disagreed with, we might have recalled 7 other councilors who voted for the budget. So, you know, to me, this is a retaliatory method. And we've also heard, and we're running quickly on time, but we've heard that his attorney is going to attempt to go to court and say, well, this law is it's too easy. There's no, you know, well, it's a law. And you're right. Unfortunately, they can. But what they don't understand is that on that affidavit, you have to cite the reasons. And I can't understand how anybody could vote to recall a councilor when the reason is that you disagree with somebody's position and you're fighting for the taxpayer. The fact is that, you know, that is, you know, and that label, negative, I'm really tired of hearing people say that anybody with an opinion other than mine is negative.
We're always negative, you know that.
That's right.
Well, it looks like we're out of time. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Councilor Pereira.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no, we appreciate having you, and hopefully you'll come back and let us know what's
Yeah.
going on.
We have to get into a few other things too.
Next
we
time,
didn't even
yes.
have time because we just don't have enough time.
We never have
Okay,
enough time.
I will come back.
Thank you very much for
having me.
watching. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to it. And again, we thank Councilor Pereira. And please continue to watch our show. We appreciate your help. Thank you.